Will you be joining us? It looks pretty good. Looks better than pretty good. 66 degrees, 7:25, June 12th. See the moon last night above that incredible sunset. So many sunset pictures. And sunrise was pretty good too, from what I hear. No need for words right now. Little dew in the grass. Did some mowing yesterday. Can't tell from this angle, but the grass is starting to get a little brown, starting to go dormant. That's a natural thing. With the highest sun of the year, the grass naturally wants to go dormant. Get a little school of fish there, Andrew. Where are you? Some fish. Where are the birds? Where are the fishermen? Where's the wind? Got wind? No wind? What is wind? There's a high pressure system just to the east of New England. Where'd that come from? And a high pressure system to the west of New England and a little orange dashed line. That's going to be interesting. That's a surface trough. There's going to be a little bit of a front in New England today, mostly having to do with the angle of the sun and the temperature of the land in contrast with the temperature of the ocean. The temperature this morning started in the 50s with the dew point climbing a little bit. The dew point is up to 60 now on Cape Cod. That's sticky. That makes sense though, because I'm planning to wash windows on Cape Cod today. And usually it gets sticky when I time that somewhere after pollen and before the intense heat. It's a very narrow window, I think. It's a lack of intense heat this morning again. It's about the 5th day in a row with record low temperatures underneath the high pressure system that's been just slowly moving from Canada to the southeastern United States. This morning, 49 degrees in Fort Knox, Kentucky. The old record was 51 on June 12, 1990, I think. So it's sailing day today, and the wind forecast is going to be very interesting. We're going from near calm this morning, more fish right there, to what's going to be a light wind from the west in Worcester, 5 to 10 miles an hour, and a light wind from the east in Boston. A little stronger though, 10 miles to maybe 15 miles an hour. Start with the satellite imagery this morning. You can see the mostly clear sky. Southern New England, mostly cloudy. Day 8 in northern New England. And some rain showers in central Maine. Those rain showers are actually moving from east to west, blocking in the atmosphere, not quite done with us. And the summit of Mount Washington actually got above 40 for the first time, in the morning anyway, in several days. So it's starting to warm at most levels of the atmosphere. And look at this image, the tower cam, undercast, clouds below the summit and some convective cumulus off to the southeast. I think that's looking southwest from the top of Mount Washington this morning. So the atmosphere is prone to develop showers and thunderstorms today. They're going to be widely scattered, but look at this. Watch where they're popping up. There's the HRR or the NAM. I can't remember which one, but anyhow, it shows a little yellow dot right near Boston about 5 or 6 o'clock, slowly traversing out over to the water near Hingham and Hull, right at the time of the Wednesday evening sailboat race. That could be interesting. What's the wind doing at that point? Well, here are the wind barbs. They look like little toothpicks without much going on, but if you look really closely, a couple of them do have feathers, light from the west, just inland, and from the east over Boston Harbor. It actually says 12 knots. That's respectable wind, isn't it? And I didn't check the tide. Let's see if it's going. I'm sorry, I didn't check the tide. I think it's going to be rather high tide, but I'm not positive on that. Should have checked. Sorry, Kevin. There are the sailboats pointing toward the west right now. All right, so today's a pretty interesting day. It's just it's a bagginess in the isobars. There's not much of a pressure gradient. I guess the big news is what's happening south of that record cold in Florida with the flood watches going on and heavy rain. There's a low pressure system moving through the Gulf of Mexico, crossing Florida on the south side of the cold, and all that heat that we've had in South Florida. It's some overrunning and it's getting wrung out. Doesn't look like a tropical system, but they certainly appear to be tropical downpours. Oh, and speaking of tropics, did I show this satellite yet? Oh, I did, but I didn't show the little circulation between Nantucket and Bermuda. Remember at one point last week that Euro had that thing coming right up to Cape Cod with sort of a little mini tropical nor'easter for today. Well, it does exist. It's just about 300 miles further south of the guidance from 6 days ago. But the more recent guidance has really had that. And there may be another one of those happening. That system that's in Florida now may attach itself to our front, but probably after it goes by. Our front, you ask? Well, here's the radar this morning. You see those showers and storms in North Dakota and South Dakota. Those are coming our way. There's going to be low pressure going to our north on Thursday, so why don't we get right to that in the Euro here. It's tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Today is Wednesday. High pressure appears to be here, but there's still the upper level low. Oh yeah, I wanted to show the 500 millibar. Sorry. The showers in Maine are actually moving toward the west this morning. See that? Almost looks like a whale with its mouth open, shape of the jet stream, and 500 millibars with the big hole right over New England. That's the upper level, very last of the anomalous cold aloft decaying, but it is still an upper level low, and it's only slowly moving out. And then that rip-roaring jet stream up around 8,000, 18,000 feet comes across the Great Lakes and starts getting into the scene here Thursday into Friday. That's when we warm up, and then you have a cold front with some downpours and thunderstorms coming through here. And then we get another refreshing air mass from Canada this weekend that could actually be record cold. All right, enough of that. All right, let's go back to record cold. What'd I say? Yeah, well, you know how this high pressure system over the middle of the country and it's going to the southeast, that's high barometer cold, and that's been producing those record low temperatures. We've been in low barometer cold, where it's been colder up in the sky with these instability clouds and showers each day. But on Sunday, that high is going to be right over us. So let's get back to that. Maps in motion. Here's Friday. You see the showers and storms in northern New England kind of falling apart and then regenerating in southern New England. Could be some isolated severe storms with some isolated 1 to 2 inch rainfall amounts. That pushes, I hope it happens here, off to the south. And then there's that other low way south of Cape Cod. Look at that. That's almost a tropical system going racing east of the front, and they'll join way out over the Atlantic Ocean. But we've removed the blocking in the atmosphere. It's going to be nice, refreshing air coming in here on Saturday. Not that the air has been too bad, but it is going to get more humid with a dew point in the 60s on Friday. Anyhow, that high goes right over us Saturday night, and Sunday morning there's a chance for some record low temperatures here in the Northeast. And then that high is going to slowly move off to the east and then the south. Now, if that high would just go to our east, we weren't going to get that warm. And there's a little perturbation that's coming right out of the southwestern United States. Is going to race right across the Great Lakes and just north of us on Monday night, Tuesday. That may keep a little bit of an onshore flow going to parts of New England Tuesday. Otherwise, the heat is on starting Tuesday, and the high pressure system sprawling. Note the winds from the east on the south side of that high. That could be tropical trouble in the Gulf of Mexico, and winds from the west here in New England. That's going to be temperatures in the 90s in a lot of spots with a potential heat wave either starting Tuesday or Wednesday and go to Thursday, Friday. And the Friday-Saturday front, it's stalled here. We may have one of those ring of fire type situations where you have thunderstorms on the northern edge of a heat wave from the Central Plains right into New England. It doesn't look like that front wants to really race through here, so that could be some pretty interesting temperature and pressure gradient here with southerly wind in southern New England and northerly wind in northern New England and thunderstorms in between. Now we're talking way out there on the weekend, next weekend, not this weekend. That's 10 days out. And so the summer solstice is next Thursday, and look at the 14-day for Sterling, Massachusetts. The operational numbers have been creeping up every single day, and it now looks like the temperature will be 90 or better in a lot of New England, and the dew point will probably be in the 60s, I would guess. So fairly uncomfortable air conditioning weather coming in. We had a little bout with 90 in parts of New England quite a while ago, the last warm wave, and we'll definitely have a bunch of them next week. So works in waves. We've been in a cooler wave, comfortable wave. We're going to warm up for 2 days, and then another cooler wave, and then almost definitely heat wave next week. All right, that bird was headed right for that cormorant. Instead of cormorant, it just went right underwater. It was headed right for the egret. Funny. So there are some fish there. Watching the birds. Yesterday was a spectacular sunset. I kept trying to end the day with some videos, and I couldn't because the sunset just went off. So a lot of and more from yesterday's mostly cloudy day, but brilliant end of the day. All right, kids, talk to you later. It's still a nice Tuesday, technically. It's just so little wind, but there were some sailors, some young student sailors trying to make their way through here. Calm, overcast sky. You can pretty much make out the blue way up there on the horizon north of the Hull Gut. And it's in Hull the other day. My phone got run over by a car, but the otter box and the screen cover saved it. And my phone is working as good as ever. That says a lot. So I've complained a lot about my phone, but kudos to it surviving being run over by a car. A new cover is no problem. And it looks like that video glitch that we had a month ago was resolved with a software update that happened in the middle of the night about 8 days ago. And this would be my wife's iPhone 15 I'm using right now. On our Tuesday, midday, temperature is about 71 degrees maybe. 3 o'clock, sinking air, subsidence, high pressure over the ocean. Tanker incoming, headed toward heavy cumulus instability, rising air, low pressure over the land. How about a Hafnia Lease time lapse? I missed a real fun interaction with the UPS and the USPS guys while I was showing off the electric bike. Anyhow, hope you got some clouds in that time lapse too, TK. T-Rex loves it when UPS and USPS come because they all give him treats. Thanks, Lou. Thanks, Mike. Sorry I missed you. I was demoing the new toy. 6 p.m. The air is still sinking over the ocean. And now we're starting to see the cirrus, the advance of warmer air at higher levels of the atmosphere over the top of the cooler instability clouds that really ramped up again today. We've taken most of this furniture out of the yard to do some mowing. Steve, don't jump. And we're gonna move some stuff. This lilac is going to a different rescue garden. Roses are going by. Gonna have to really soak this garden. I'm not gonna be able to be too attentive here for the next few weeks, actually till July or so. Every time I try and focus in on you, Steve, you do something like that. Ready? Jump. That's the end of your line. And so I'm not expecting too much rain in the gauge. We can only hope for Friday to come through. Doing a lot of maintenance. This stuff, this poke, just hate it. Goes down so deep into the earth and it just lives year after year after year. And first thing that happens after the peony goes by is the poke and all the other invasives just try and take it over. This thing's called the Glory. They get pretty flowers. This vine that wraps around everything, but also an invasive, but it's at least a pretty invasive. And then you got all these other things over here and the berries. And the ominous clouds on the horizon, but just a couple sprinkles today. We're transitioning, wow, that's so pretty, into a much warmer wave here until the end of the week anyway. Steve loves going underneath there, that's so funny. Probably should thin out that pumpkin before I go too. What do you think, Steve? You like it under there, don't you? You're funny, you're funny, you're funny. Come here. You come here. Jump. All right, just be cute and interesting. There you go. And of course, we'll give you a time lapse of the entire day. probably see the sun again after it goes behind that cloud for a little while. But I'm running out of gas myself. So I think that's it for today. What do you think, Steve? I'm not gonna see you again for a while either. Well, today. Yeah, we will. I'm not disappearing. So there it is. So there's the tanker that went by a few hours ago, Hafne Lease, I believe. And then we've got this like skilled artist fly fisherman over here. Watch his moves.
There he goes. Yeah.
Get the duck. Get that duck. Get him. 8:19 p.m. It just never lets you go. The weather is 24/7, 365. Beauty. Mesmerizing. Thought I was done. Never done. Thank you, Mother Nature. Sure, come on over. Because I didn't want to stop making videos at all today. Cormorants. Sunset. Boston's classic rock. 8:20. I just can't stop because it won't stop. Those are called anti-crepuscular rays when they go up from the setting sun instead of down.